Keep it simple. Let's just keep it simple, guys. Let's just focus on the topic at hand here. I took a long hiatus from YouTube, Instagram. Uh, that's kind of all the apps I was on. TikTok, I got on like once in a while, but I don't ever use TikTok. Even when it came out, I didn't really use TikTok like that. I never cared for it. I see the utility in it when you're building like a brand or when you're building like a social media base, which is why I think anyone should be using social media. But aside from that, let's go to the intro. I got a script right here, and I just want to talk about a topic with you guys concerning social media, why I quit social media not quit, take breaks from social media from time to time. Quitting means that you don't do it ever again, so when it comes down to having self-control over something, or committing yourself to something, you have to be really wise with your choices, but at the same time know how to make decisions. If there's something that you know is logically detrimental to you in every way possible, you should quit it. For example, let's say I do meth. I should quit meth. I shouldn't do it again, right? Social media, it can be used for good and it can be used for evil. So I just want to talk about that real quick, why you should take a break from social media. I got like a little script or anything, but anyway, normally you guys, normally me knowing myself as a person, and maybe your perception of yourself, if you have any humility or understanding at all, you understand that generally as a human being, we lack self-restraint in the environment we live in now. You see YouTubers and you see famous people who give value to the world or have a fan base, and you may see them as these really self-controlled, maybe not Future, but you see them as these really self-controlled, basically somewhat benevolent demigod figure in today's society. Because like you look at people like Austin Dunham or people that are like really fit or like really attractive as like, man, that guy, he never slips up. No, that's not true. He probably slips up too. He slips up too. The only difference is he's been practicing controlling himself in longer intervals for a consistent, longer length of time, right? We soak up content that validates the images of other people, and because of that, we see them in a different light. So the idea that people may be very self-controlled is actually not the truth. Everybody has their flaws. So I want to say to you guys, if you relapse on anything or you're going through something, don't beat yourself up. You're human. You should ground yourself more. You should really understand human beings are really fragile, ignorant, irrational creatures. And that's just how we are. And that's just how we gonna kick it. But anyway, guys, social media is a distraction. And I used to actually deeply struggle with it. In this video, I'm actually going to give reasons as to why you probably should take a break, why you should get back on when you're done, and tips that I used to actually quit back when I was actually struggling, like a couple years ago. I was mainly struggling when I was around, all throughout high school. For a long time, I was struggling to get off social media. I got off Instagram for a while, and then I was like really heavy on Snapchat. I was one of those Snapchat guys. Throughout high school and like my first year of college. I'd say I really got just stopped caring about all of it around the age of 20. I'm 21 now, so I'd say like maybe a year and a half ago or so. But as self-control goes, like I'm still not the best at it. But that's the thing, like nobody is. No one's the best at self-control. It's something that you have to train over a long period of time with dedication and focus on yourself. We have porn, we have delicious food that makes us fat, we have social media, we have drugs, we have games. We have all sorts of great and wonderful inventions that can basically tickle the magic spot in our brain in the most evil and creative ways possible, right? So we are at a complete disadvantage in today's society. However, you shouldn't use that as an excuse to let yourself fall through. It is up to our conscious desires to control our urges when they become a hindrance to our goals. So why social media? What is about social media that is a hindrance to your goals? Well, number one, that's something that you should see for yourself, right? If you're sitting there scrolling on Instagram, liking world star pics of models, when you should be studying for your exam tomorrow, then there's probably a problem. There's an issue, and you're conscious of that. It's no surprise that also with social media, evidently with statistics in the slew of thousands of videos that talk about social media that are already on this topic, that social media contributes to several mental stressors, including anxiety and depression, and it has caused basically a skyrocket in those sorts of things. Mankind isn't going to delete social media, right? The president isn't going to ban social media for you. No one's going to sit up here and say, hey, the world, it's burning, and I need to delete this because this is the problem, even though all of you use it. I approve this message. No one's going to do that. It's up to you as a person to actually separate yourself from the things that are hurting you. And it's up to YouTubers or content creators or life coaches or whoever to help people do that thing so that society doesn't burn to the ground. So anyway, let's talk about social media. First, let's get into why you should quit. Let's talk about depression and anxiety. It contributes to depression and anxiety. It does. It contributes to it. I'm not saying it's the cause, right? I'm not going to say that it's the end all be all. You may have some childhood trauma or some other stuff going on, right? But it definitely contributes to depression and anxiety. Statistics shows that over the years, through the rise of social media, it has created the increase of social media usage and availability. Social media softwares has a positive trend in correlation to depression and anxiety, especially in young teenagers. First of all, you're comparing yourself to others, and you actually start to develop an unrealistic expectation for yourself and reality and how you basically interpret it. Basically, your reality is simply an interpretation of responses and external stimuli that you experience on a day-to-day basis. Whether it be in a social atmosphere or you getting punched in the face, it doesn't matter. Everything's an interpretation, everything's in a reality. To a man who has his pain receptor shut off, a punch in the face feels like a breeze in the wind. But to a guy like me, it feels like a breeze in the wind. No, I'm just playing. But still, you trick yourself into believing that what you see on social media is essentially reality because you're constantly being fed that. You're constantly seeing what other people are putting out there. So you actually start to develop a contempt for yourself because you're comparing yourself to people who may be on a way higher level than you, or you see a guy who's 6'3" with a brand new car. Women, you see a girl who has like a perfectly sculpted badonkadonk, who's with a really rich dude, and he's like all handsome, and you start to like hate yourself and binge eat. We all know the juice about social media. You compare yourself to others on that medium, and it causes you to basically usher yourself into self-pity and self-contempt. Not only that, but another thing is you actually trick yourself into being social. And you trick yourself into thinking that being social and communicating is done through the phone rather than in person. So people will start to actually use social media consistently to like communicate with people, and they think that's a worthy substitute for communication. Actually, 80% of communication is tone of voice, posture. It's actually nonverbal. You're missing out 80% on the communication with human interaction. Now, take a kid who's used his phone his whole life, who's been deprived of that 80% of human interaction, and then see how he interacts with people. Finally, one day, when he's actually in person with someone, he may be saying things and may mean something, but his own body, his own physical aura, his essence, his vibe is just going to be completely and utterly awkward. You see this all the time with the stereotypical nerd in the high school movies. This guy, he's always on his phone, he's always on games and computers. He never talks to anyone, and therefore he's an awkward person, even though he may say words that are profound. Because he's such a weirdo and because he's never gotten out, people don't really respect him or like him, or etc., etc. Social media can do that to you over time. I'm not saying if you use it all the time you're a nerd, but I'm saying it desocializes people and it lessens the value of human interaction. You start to become reliant on a cell phone. Like, you become reliant on a phone as a medium of communication, and then because of that, you're inept and you're not able to actually communicate with people, when it matters in person, when you're talking to them face to face. There's a world where people can actually make you View them in a way they themselves desire you to, meaning your perception of a person, place, or thing can be completely manipulated and determined by the will of a man, right? You see this all the time. Women are very hypersexualized in culture, and that's 100% social media, right? That's 100% social media. You see women who Photoshop their images and do all these sorts of things. Or you see guys who highlight their lives, or some guys, I know people did this, but this is true. People will buy fake followers, or buy fake clothes, or buy fake cars, or rent a car just to pose in front of it. Like, people will actually really lie to you on the internet, and therefore you have people who are literally outputting lies for you to look at them and to perceive them in a way that isn't true. Your sense of the world itself starts to become a lie because you're too absorbed in social media. Maybe that's an extreme, right? Maybe that's a bit of an extreme. But my point is, social media is a double-edged sword, right? It can be used to warp your sense of reality. It can be used to distract you from your purpose, to completely sap your brain. Half these apps are designed, especially Snapchat, is designed to keep you hooked on it. I see all the time. I don't understand these people. They have like thousands and thousands of streaks with people snapping them a picture of their ceiling or their face just to have a high snap score. For what? But it's because that red block, those big bubbly letters, it's designed in a way to keep you hooked, just so that you can sit up there and feel like this useless medium is giving me value. It feels like an achievement, right? But it's not. Psychologically, the color red has utility to us because we like fruit. We're chimpanzees. Chimpanzees like fruit. Fruit is red. Red is good, right? Because of that, there's tons of ways that the brain is manipulated on social media, and that's why I took a break from it, because y'all know I took like 2 weeks. I took more than 2 weeks. I took like a whole solid month. I don't like Instagram. I haven't been posting on Instagram. People think just because I haven't posted on Instagram that I'm not working out. Boy, I'm working out. I don't need to post it though all the time. Move in silence, right? Reasons to get back on though, because social media isn't all that bad. I'm not gonna go on a social media witch hunt rant, even though I kind of just did. But why? Reasons to get back on when you're actually done with social media. Well, not because you want to talk to your friends, right? Because in my opinion, if you have true friends, they can just text your phone number. They can just text you. If you have a friend or a girl who won't talk to you outside of social media, just forget them. Just drop them. I thought I had like tons of friends when I was still on Snapchat, but I really don't. Like, I actually don't. None of them actually text my phone number. Some will, maybe from time to time, and I'll keep them in mind. Like, I will consider them somewhat of a C-tier friend, like a decent friend, but and it's different if they don't have my number or we just weren't that close. It's different. So the people who are on my social media, don't be offended by this. But those of you know who you are. You know who I'm talking to. All right. If I've had your number and I've texted you to your phone number and you don't respond, but once I post on my story or whatever, when I was back on there, you'll respond, you're a blip and a fake. Anyway, not only that, but to market or start a business is a good reason, right? To market or start a business, you want to go on there and start a business, or to get a dose of things that contribute to your mental well-being, right? Like, you can go on. I did start a niche page for men. It's called Level Man, and it's to basically post inspirational stuff on there. You can look at inspirational sources, but I mean, what can you can get more from audiobooks, from regular books, from YouTube videos. Not even though YouTube videos is considered social media, I still consider it a better form of social media, but you get the picture. But there are ways, there are tips that I use to actually quit. And that's the last part of the video that I want to get into. So a little bit of story time. I think I have another video on here about social media. But guys, man, I used to have tons of girls on my Snapchat. I used to want to talk to all of them. I was horrible. I was nerd. Like, I knew like a lot of them liked me, but I didn't know how to speak to them, and I was super nervous and stuff like that. So you know how I be when you're young. But I had like tons of girls on my Snapchat and stuff like that, and I was always on Snapchat, and I always kept it installed. Even though deep down I hate the app, I always kept it installed because I was like, okay, they're gonna hit me up, and we're gonna chill or hang out or do something, you know, right? Like I kind of craved that romantic side from Snapchat. And one day I got fed up, and I just removed them all. I got fed up because I was tired of staying on the app. That's how bad it got. My mental health suffered so bad. Like, I was constantly doing all sorts of stuff that just was not good for me. And I deleted them. Once I deleted them and completely unadded all of them, I was able to get off Snapchat. And I know it sounds kind of lame, but that's just the truth. And that can also be applied to you guys. Delete the medium. Delete the sources of entertainment that connect you to the medium on your social media. So if you have Snapchat, right, you want to delete Snapchat. If there's the reason you're on it is because there are people that you really desire to keep tabs on or keep in contact with. Delete them off your Snapchat. If you want to keep in contact with them, let them text your freaking phone number, bro. Stop trying to get people to talk to you through your Snapchat social media. Give them your number. If you don't want to give your number out, go to WhatsApp, right? Get a new number. Or, just take a break. Just don't talk to them for a while. If you don't want to give them your number, you probably shouldn't be talking to them anyway. Not only that, but NoFap and also having a life, basically having a busy life, also help because, and I'm gonna get on NoFap and stuff like that in a minute. But basically, having a busy life, you don't have time to be on your phone. That's just how I am. But some of you addicts out there, y'all make time. So let's actually go with NoFap and also accepting reality, because with those things, you deprive yourself of a false pleasure. And because you deprive yourself of a false pleasure, you're able to basically accept reality. And how accepting reality helps you get off social media is that you no longer feel the desire to use social media as a crutch to distract you from life, right? Because that's all social media was for me. It was a distraction from life, just like drugs and just like porn was for me, right? It was to distract me from my life, from my life's purpose and everything that I wanted to do, or not even just my life's purpose. You don't even really have to have a purpose to not want to be distracted by life. You need to understand what reality is before it hits you in the mouth when you're 30, because that's just a good thing to do, right? Get off social media. You should quit if you're on it all day, right? You should take breaks from it because there are actually mental health effects. A lot of these women on here who are just constantly on social media, they're always on their phone, they're always glued to their phone. A lot of these guys out here who are constantly on social media, who are glued to their phone, they have low energy, man. They have low energy, right? If you don't have control over it, if you don't go to your phone and see that, you spent 5-6 hours away from your phone because you're busy, there is a problem, But anyway, guys, I wanted to share that video topic with you guys because obviously I took a long break. I figured it makes sense to talk about this video. I hope y'all guys liked it. Comment, like, subscribe. Holla back at your boy, man. Peace out.